of California, DMV, California, we probably have like the most cars, with the most people, most registrations, because we are the biggest. Well, we're the third biggest state, but we are probably in decline of the actual DMV office now. Like the DMV office, like public office, is probably no longer needed because the advent of a lot of things that happen with the technology. Like right now, if you're already in the system, you could already pay a lot of these things online or through a DMV kiosk. And these kiosks could be in a grocery store, at the post office, could be at the mall. It could be anywhere. I don't know. You could go online and find out where the DMV kiosk. There's a DMV kiosk. They're like they're yellow, and they basically are the DMV in a kiosk. You're really surprised that the DMV hasn't advertised this yet, of California. California DMV is probably, this is probably, if probably whoever company this is probably going to be very rich because it should be statewide. It should be federalized how California does their DMV kiosk from other states, further from Nevada, Arizona, Texas, and but anyhow, with the new licenses, most of you can get most of these licenses, your driver's license, registrations for your car, paying all the kinds of sorts of fees and stuff. That's all they figure out. Oh, that's all you need is a kiosk, or online. They have some of that stuff you could pay through a third party payment processor that the DMV already has and pay like a $3 fee on top of that to expedite that payment. So I know people, and pretty soon I'm pretty sure they'll figure out a decentralized way to accept payments from that too. Because I'm shocked that the DMV hasn't figured out how to accept tokens yet. They should, like any other government agency. That's a legitimate payment. So I don't know why they haven't figured that out. But anyhow, see right here is at Ralph's. But yeah, DMV kiosk. You don't know how many times like I could go down and if I'm not in my address. See, this works very good because it worked where I was working in Northern California and my registration had expired, and I was in cities in South San Francisco, and the South Bay, I should say, South Bay of the Bay Area, in Cupertino, San Carlos, I believe that's what it's called, Redwood City. I was in these cities and like, damn, man, and especially like Sunnyvale, Cupertino, around those areas. I had worked in those areas, and oh man, if your stuff, like I drove an older car because I don't make much money and I don't believe in putting all that money into a car. And even if I could afford it, I still probably, I don't know. It's not into cars, but what I'm trying to say that, I get pulled over in those cities, like just like butter, and I was getting pulled over. And I was like, oh man, I better like register this. I better, I better figure out how to get my registration because I think it went, and I didn't pay it yet. So, and I know the registration went down to Southern California. And I was like, oh man, I better, and I went to a DMV kiosk. I'm in the same state, Southern California, Northern California, same state. And I went to the kiosk and I printed out a sticker to put in the back of my cars. I didn't have a sticker. And, it's things like that. I don't have time to go to, get an appointment at the DMV to get an appointment DMV, I think it was, it's a headache. And then go down there, it's depressing, it smells. I don't know why the government hasn't figured out how to make a pleasant office. You know, not saying, you don't go to, a very, what corporate office I need to go to that it's nice. No. But I'm just saying that, the DMV and the workers there are mean and they look mean and they just look not happy, man. So that's why the DMV kiosks are very good in California because cancer culture don't want to, have a human, basically. So we find ways to not interact with people. And a DMV kiosk is one of those entities that you don't have to deal with people. You could get a lot of entities just by going on your finding a DMV kiosk in your local neighborhood and figuring out, just putting your address and boom, it'll put in things that needs to be updated. Put in your cell phone number, update your address, and see a lot of this California, you might not be at your address for a couple of months, so you might miss a lot of stuff. So, that's why sometimes I don't understand why government officials don't understand that. I might not always be at that address. I might be working on the other side of California, seasonal worker, and then my house is in San Ysidro, California, down at the Mexican border, and I'm at the Oregon state border. So I'm not going to drive all the way back down because of some government paperwork. I'm going to go to my local kiosk at the Humboldt grocery store, Kroger grocery store, and I'm going to go to the DMV now kiosk at the Kroger grocery store in Humboldt County, California, and do what and get that registration to print out so I can have it. So I won't, when I get pulled over by police, it won't be a problem. Oh well, your paperwork's on. Here's a ticket. People don't think about those things like that, man. Like I guess not. But anyhow, that was the problem I was having, and these DMV kiosks resolved that problem. Thank God that California is on top of that, and that tells you right there that there's going to be a lot of layoffs. If you really think about it, it's going to be tons of layoffs from the DMV. If they're these DMV kiosks keep, pretty soon they're going to be at the library, grocery stores, whatever. Like, wherever there's a red box, basically, right here, like right here. You see all these kiosks, the green machine, the lottery machine. You could have all that right there and there. So. You could do every shopping. You don't need to go in all these places anymore. And then they have like a little substation for a little part-time branch, little tiny bank inside these grocery stores. So you have everything just by going inside the grocery store. And now, I think this was like a pilot program a long time ago, and then it's successful. Like their pilot program look like it's at a grocery store, right here. But yeah, well, I just wanted to showcase the DMV kiosk, something in California that really has taken off and has really saved a lot of cancer culture of interacting with humans. All right, bon appetito.